The environment of North America during the Late Jurassic period was exceptionally severe and unforgiving, particularly across the territory now recognized as the Western United States. Extended periods of drought relentlessly ravaged the landscape, creating conditions where only the most robust dinosaurs could possibly survive. This epoch was truly the reign of titans, playing host to immense sauropods and formidable hunters, including Allosaurus, Torvosaurus, and Saurophaganax. Yet survival in this brutal setting was not exclusively determined by sheer size. As the classic adage reminds us, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. This sentiment perfectly encapsulated the reality of Ceratosaurus, the fierce hellhound that prowled these challenging badlands. Like countless other dinosaurs of the late Jurassic, the remains of Ceratosaurus were unearthed from the Morrison Formation, an expansive geological unit of Jurassic rock spread across 13 U.S. states. The initial fossils were retrieved in 1883 from the Garden Park site, an astonishing discovery because the specimen was almost entirely intact. Merely 1 year later, the esteemed paleontologist Charles Marsh provided the formal description and classification, naming it Ceratosaurus, which translates to horned lizard, a reference to the distinctive spike adorning its snout. At that time, it stood as the most comprehensively understood carnivorous dinosaur in all of America. While the initial skeletal reconstruction incorrectly depicted its posture and bodily proportions, subsequent major finds and decades of diligent research have provided today's scientists with a far more precise understanding of the animal's physical form and characteristic behaviors.
Ceratosaurus was classified as a medium-sized theropod, though there was notable variation in size among its species. The key specimen, Ceratosaurus nasicornis, typically measured between 18 and 20 feet long. Another recognized form, Ceratosaurus dentisulcatus, grew even larger, with one recorded individual stretching close to 23 feet and carrying a weight of approximately 2,100 pounds. A number of paleontologists posit that these differences merely signify different growth stages rather than distinct species, a point that continues to be debated within the scientific community. Regardless of its specific classification, Ceratosaurus functioned as a devastating predator. It possessed a cranium that was disproportionately large. The forward section was densely constructed, ideal for delivering powerful initial impacts, while the rear was lighter, allowing for an exceptionally wide gape. Its mouth contained roughly 26 substantial blade-like teeth, each equipped with fine serrations perfectly suited for slicing and stripping flesh from its victims. The skull also featured two smaller bony crests situated above the eyes. However, the most unmistakable feature was the striking nasal horn, measuring about 5 inches in length. In the living animal, this structure was covered by a sheath of keratin, making its true enlarged dimensions difficult to confirm. Early scientific observers believed it functioned as a primary weapon in combat, but the consensus among modern experts suggests it was primarily used for conspicuous display, perhaps playing a role in attracting mates or asserting dominance through intimidation.
Regarding its body structure, Ceratosaurus was equipped with robust rear limbs designed for swift movement, whereas its forelimbs were comparatively small and less developed than those of many contemporary carnivores. Certain research indicates the arms retained a limited capacity for grasping, potentially aiding in securing prey, but its main offensive tools were unequivocally its powerful legs and jaws. Its feeding habits have long been a source of scholarly discussion. Initial interpretations proposed it actively hunted other dinosaurs, possibly targeting juvenile sauropods or stegosaurus. Later data suggested it may have had a partial semi-aquatic lifestyle, hunting creatures like turtles and primitive crocodilians, since its remains were frequently found near ancient floodplains and river systems. Its deep, flexible tail was reminiscent of a crocodile's, fueling the hypothesis that Ceratosaurus was a proficient swimmer. Nevertheless, the prevailing view among paleontologists today is that while it likely exploited resources near water, it fundamentally remained a hunter of the terrestrial environment. A pivotal 1998 study shed light on the mechanisms allowing Ceratosaurus to coexist with the dominant Allosaurus by occupying distinct ecological niches. In regions where the long-snouted Allosaurus variety was prevalent, Ceratosaurus fossils were notably sparse, implying direct competition for similar food sources. Conversely, in areas where the short-snouted Allosaurus was more common, Ceratosaurus flourished, a phenomenon likely attributable to differences in diet. Even with this niche partitioning, the severe reduction of resources during extreme dry seasons inevitably drove these predators into direct, violent conflict. At the Cleveland Lloyd Quarry in Colorado, close to 30% of dinosaur bones bear bite marks from theropods, a startling rate when contrasted with the typical 4%. Among the most frequently bitten were the theropods themselves. Evidence pointed toward acts of cannibalism and desperate confrontations, with Ceratosaurus acting as both the killer and the killed.
Yet the environment of the Morrison Formation was not perpetually bleak. Seasonal torrential rains transformed the arid plains into lush, fertile landscapes teeming with animal life, establishing the region as one of North America's most significant dinosaur bone deposits. Gigantic sauropods, such as Apatosaurus, Brachiosaurus, Camarasaurus, and Diplodocus, shared the territory with plant eaters like Camptosaurus and Dryosaurus, alongside the famous armored Stegosaurus. Ceratosaurus maintained its dominance across this rich ecosystem for an approximate span of 5 million years, from around 153 to 148 million years ago. But like so many species of its time, it eventually disappeared from the fossil record. The precise reason for its extinction remains unknown, though it is widely theorized that relentless droughts and extreme environmental fluctuations played a significant role in the demise of this distinctive Jurassic predator, the true hellhound of its era.